why I feel in the face of all the problems in the world impotent, and why I somehow cannot manage to transform I. Now here we get to the real problem, because we're always telling each other that we should be different. Now I'm not going to tell you that tonight. Why not? Because I know you can't. Nor can I. That may sound depressing, but I'll show you it isn't. It's very hard. But everybody, you see, who is at all sensitive and awake to their own problems and human problems is trying to change himself. We know we can't change the world unless we change ourselves. So when we are aware of the ego I, we are aware of this chronic tension inside ourselves. And that's not us. It's a futile tension. So when we get the illusion, the image of ourselves, married to a futile tension, you've got an illusion married to a futility.
Good morning, everybody. Important notes on today's Bitcoin chart. Parabola is still intact. We are still in an upward trend, and there is no reason to expect reversal until the relevant pivots are crossed. So why don't we go ahead and actually define the relevant pivots? We have our daily pivots and our 4-hour pivots, and to be honest, they're just about the same thing. We have the 100 here on the daily, because our 100 period is our longest overexpanded period. However, it is important to note that we actually are seeing the re-expansion of our previous longest overexpanded periods, which does make the daily chart a softer reading than the 4-hour chart, where our longest overexpanded periods are separate. And because of that, we are just going to be looking at the 4-hour today, because the previous and current expansions are separate values instead of combined, right? If you actually take a look at the look-back periods for Wave PM, periods for oscillator look-back is going to change how rapidly our readings compress. And because of this, since there is a higher number of candles to look back on, we get faster compression on shorter time frames. And because of this, when we get these significant moves followed by a long period of compression, that compression is going to be more accurately represented here in the shorter time frame, at least for identifying the longest overexpanded period. There is still much to be learned about adjusting look-back period to find the ideal compression area rate depending on the time frame you're on. And that's a talk for another day and a whole different rabbit hole, but what I want to point out today is just our current longest overexpanded period. Right? Since this previous longest overexpanded period, say on the daily chart, would actually cause the re-expansion of these periods up here as well. So when we only look at the 4-hour chart, however, we're going to get a better reading. Currently, that longest overexpanded period is 220. So we will adjust the period to match. Beautiful. Okay, and as long as price is maintained outside of this band, trend is technically defined. And goodness gracious, that did define trend really well. And no, I am not doing hindsight on this. We've been using the 220 value since the initial test at this location. right? So, actually, probably prior, although at that time it was closer to 180 and 200, the longest overexpanded period did radiate upwards over time. And once you get the compressionary cycle of your shorter periods, as we see here, and quite honestly, as we see here, well, it does imply a longer period of lateral trading. Whether or not the mean inversion pivot is crossed is going to be huge for actually identifying whether or not that trend is truly over. So we're in the demand, trend dies, and Bitcoin enters its reaccumulation phase of lateral trading, which will probably last for several months until, say, on the daily chart, we shed significant mass, right? Since one interesting thing to look at is when we had this overexpansion here, what did it result in? It resulted in a 3-month period of compression, which restored the market to a state of potential energy, which we can see here. So when we get the re-expansion, it's, well, taking advantage of that potential energy for a state of trend. And goodness gracious, I severely underestimated the amount of potential energy in the market. The readings were there, I just did not think it would become a true parabola and break through every support, or excuse me, every resistance we had labeled. That was quite surprising. However, we currently have our mean inversion pivots, and our pivots for a compressing market, which means oh, I lost my train of thought. I had a panic attack and I thought I didn't turn my microphone on, but you can hear me, so okay, 1 hour chart, or 15-minute, even better. So we can actually define our mean inversion pivot here on the shorter time frame, which is going to be huge because this overexpansion also is going to have very strong mean inversion pivots, and this is currently defined as the 300 period. And let's see how this is being respected. Oh, really cleanly. Yeah, these pivots are pretty tried and true and hard. Yeah, as long as we stay above this band, trend is defined by the 15-minute. Okay. So we re-enter this band, what happens? Price will trade laterally as defined by the band, which would result in this kind of movement, right? It's just going to compress as defined by its 1.25 standard deviation. Until then, trend is defined and we can still see higher highs. So, long above, short below. It's simple as that. And I also want to have you consider this. 220, right, times 4 is 880, times 4 is 3,520, right? Because the 220 band on the 4-hour chart would be 3,520 on the 15-minute chart. So why don't we go ahead and load up that band as well? 3520. And sure, we could, in theory, get a higher resolution reading, but this will do for our purposes. You really can tell just how perfectly this support defined the flag. So, if this mean inversion pivot here is crossed, we'll get lateral trading as defined by this band. And if that happens, as long as we cross this band as well, then we can assume the parabola is over. Until then, it's a bullish parabola, okay? As long as we stay above this mean inversion pivot here, the long-term trend is still sustained, and as long as we're above this pivot here, the short-term trend is still sustained, okay? If you trade on those pivots, you will be very successful the next few days, okay? That's the best recommendation I can give you. Just use these two pivots on the 15-minute chart and you'll be golden. Better yet, use the 1/10 period CCI roll in order to gain entry for proper risk management, especially for this longer period, right? Because re-entry of the band is actually just the activation of the condition, not the signal itself. The signal itself is going to be a 1/10 period CCI roll to the downside, and yes, that is completely arbitrary. It is my personal risk management method of entering the condition, right? I choose a signal to match the condition, and hopefully the stars align. So, with that in mind, long if it tests the band, short if it enters the band, and short if it enters this band, or long if it touches this band. You know, you have so many good defined pivots here. It's going to be great trading the next few days, okay? It has been a pleasure. You TradingView folks, have a wonderful afternoon. Okay. How you doing, folks? Curva has me looking at XRP. That is an excellent choice. I'm very excited about how XRP is going to perform these next few days. Beautiful. Viewership is good. I'm in a good mood. A little bit nauseous, but that's fine. Let's croak my way out of it. This is not loading. Come on. I turned my VPN off and everything. It's being a little slow today. Waiting for the breakdown, says Marius. That's a good idea. Let's see how it plays out. I want to call this pair as well because it's got a great pivot on it. Okay, we'll take a look at XRP, okay? I kind of want a bigger bag. Like, when you have every single period above 0.9 on a downward trend, and those periods begin their compression, the implied upside is just massive, like to the 200 period at least. And the 200 period is really far away. I just need to point that out. Technically, the mean reversion condition is not even active. That's how far away it is. There is implied bullishness and there is implied compression. So we'll probably see short-term lateral moves and hopefully some upside. This is going to be very profitable if it actually plays out. Waiting for the breakdown. Let's take a look at Litecoin and Nano. I am no longer in my Litecoin short. I've been saying this for days. Let's see how it's performing. Yeah, bounced off of its mean reversion pivot. I think it came just shy if we adjust the period correctly. But lateral trading has defined by the longest over expanded period. So it's kind of in a no man's land at this point because we had the bearish condition activation here and it did revert. And now it's anybody's. So I'm not going to try to make a prediction on this. I think there's a short-term upward expansion here, but it's not really worth. Well, it could be worth it. We'll check it out. Wait for the pivots to load. Yeah, that's really cleanly generated. We can take a look at this. On the 160 period. I don't know how I feel about this. Yeah. That's pretty well respected. There was a significant wick to the downside there on that mean reversion pivot. But look how many candles have supported this pivot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 candles bouncing directly on the pivot. That's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, you can long above or short below. Okay? Simple as that. It's a pleasure. Nano, I did call Nano. Let's take a look at that. I think we're going to do the aftermath autopsy at this time. Yep, okay. Just trended right down to the stop loss. We're seeing a lower low. Trend continuation. You know what? That's fine. No, I think trend continuation is going to happen on Nano. I don't think anything else is going to happen with it. There's some signs of trend exhaustion. That much I can say. Really, this trend has been a slow taper, so we can't really define a good mean reversion pivot. Compression is super obvious. Wave PM cross actually implies downside though, so unfortunately I can't recommend anything on this chart. Check out waves though. Hey, all you people watching, I can do coin requests for you. Give me the coins you want me to do, and I will do them. I will do the coins. Wave. You're talking about waves or wave? Because I don't know. Is wave a thing? Nope, it's waves. It's tempting to play with these. I know you're looking at that static support value. It's just too obvious. Mass generation is really unclean. Mostly because we still had trend continuation outside of the previous longest overexpanded period. And that requires a lot of downward force. I like how price wicked to zero. That's kind of cool. Happened before too. You know, it can be quite profitable to find like the lowest market cap shitcoin and then just place ridiculously low buy orders. Also, if anyone wants to play Super Smash Bros, I'm totally down. I'm a pretty mediocre Ganondorf. You've been warned. Okay. I don't really want to try to catch the bottom on this. Sorry. Yeah, we have this really nice defined static support, but I don't trust static support levels. So unfortunately, I can't call anything here. VTC, I don't know what that is. Let's check it out. Vertcoin. Weird. Super compressed range and the micro time frames. Looks like we're getting a... Ooh, dude. This could really pop. I mean, I don't really have the technicals to support it. I absolutely... Oh, I've charted this in the past, haven't I? Like a long time ago. Wow. I drew a breakout pattern on this. Let's check it out. Look at it. Okay, I see what you're doing, man. We'll take a look at the weekly, okay? Because on these low cap, I think I might have a bag of this. If you're gonna buy a pump and dump shitcoin, I would recommend something. Well, this is actually pretty good, man. Not gonna lie. Yeah, go ahead, buy back. Jesus. Just be aware you might draw down another 70%, okay? You might draw 70%, but your upside's 1,500%. If that's your risk profile, do it. I mean, I'm considering dumping a huge bag into BCN. Like, I'm gonna make a pull on an X account just so I can buy this shitcoin. BTC might be better though. Hold on. These pumps really heavily correlate to the bull runs. Dude, this is just so cyclical. I think it might be worth it. Go ahead. I'm going to buy some of this. Yeah, we could log into my Bittrex account and to see like my bags that have drawn down 90%. I don't remember what the name of the coin is though. Untitled document. It began with an N. I know what coin it is. NXT, that's it. Yeah, this is my go-to right now. I bought it in, I think, probably around here. Yeah, I've drawn down 70% on this coin. A couple $100 too. But the upside is still a couple 100% for me, so keep holding the bag. Bittrex is a forgotten land, man. I'll tell you. It's a good choice, you know? You found a pretty good coin, man. Check out FET. Wow, that's enlightening. Do I really need to say more? I'm pretty sure this chart speaks for itself. I am not inclined to give an opinion on a chart like this. I can't define any mean reversion pivots. I can't... This mean reversion pivot did happen, quite clearly. But I don't have a reading on how high it was supposed to go. What we can do is this. We can take a look at the 70 period. Okay. You might bounce off the bottom edge of the 70 band. Okay? But that's it. That's all I can say. Link. Oh, you know what? Oh, I have an alert on this. This is a very good chart. We have strong trend and implied continuation with defined mean reversion pivot. I want to play this. Might call it if this bounces off the pivot I want it to, right? 275. Oh, no, that's an active mean reversion condition, man. I think Link is bearish. Yeah, we're right on top of the pivot, and we don't have implied... Well, actually, I'll be honest. Direction is down. Yeah, it's bearish now. We're gonna get compression. I'll probably make a 4chan post on it. Just for funsies. I'll probably get a lot of hate, though, for making a bearish Link prediction. Probably not a good idea. But I called the previous compressionary period on Link, right? This bad boy here. Higher high, though. That's nice. Yeah, I seriously believe this needs to blow off some steam to the downside before trend continuation, okay? FTM. Insert homophobic joke here. Just kidding. FTM BTC. Nope, I cannot do coins that are not on TradingView. PPT. Dude, you certainly chose a coin. Yeah, there's implied trend continuation. I really wish I could short this because the trend is just so defined. I don't know, man. Just keep on making lower lows. Like, seriously, if you want to accumulate over the next few months, go ahead. But there's really nothing that's going to perform poorly in the next bull run. And since I think we're about 3 months into reaccumulation, or about 3 months left of reaccumulation, you've got some time to figure out what might pump the hardest. Okay, any more comments for me? Not that I see. Okay. I'll probably be done. Nobody asked me about TRX, eh? Poe, P-O-E. Haven't heard that one in a while. That was one of my earlier calls. A long time ago. Oh, a question about the market cap. That's a great question. This has a really far away mean reversion pivot. Let's just define it real quick. 220. Now we're not even close to that. Yeah. When it's crossed, it's going to be super bullish. It just hasn't happened yet. I don't remember how to pull up the crypto market cap. Never mind. I do. Yeah, the descending wedge on this was super useful way back when, but I just gotta be honest, guys. I refuse to believe that this super obvious painted bull flag is gonna result in any higher price action. It's just... Okay. What is the best way to trick a euphoric bull? With the most obvious and cliched pattern possible. It's just too much. I have a lot of trouble believing that we're going to get any higher highs at this time. And you know what? I will admit, that is bias. That's totally bias. And I won't actually bet on anything until our relevant mean reversion pivots are crossed, but it's just from my experience. Okay, folks? Yeah, so don't actually bet on that until we get negative mean reversion pivots hit, but we'll just have to see what happens, eh? BNB, great choice. Very happy with the way BNB performed this month. Yeah, we had sick and take profit target. Jesus, look how perfect that is. This is my pride and joy. Yeah, we made 30% on that. 27%. That's really clean, man. Yeah, we had lateral trading as defined by the longest over expanded period. Oh, I can look at the BNB market cap? That's weird. Huh. I didn't know that was possible. Anyway, lateral trading as defined by the longest over expanded period, and now we have downward expansion on the wave PM, which implies trending to the bottom of the band. Okay. Longest over expanded period is 300. So if we pop in... How come I never play with these? They changed the settings menu quite a bit. Yeah, they definitely updated these menus. Hey, my margins have changed. That's not nice. Huh, I thought things were feeling a bit cramped. Aesthetics are the most important. Might change the candle colors. That could be fun. Probably not a good idea to actually mess with those. Not too much, anyway. God, I always get sucked into this. I'm sorry. Ah, good idea. My. That is a chart I can be happy with. I need to change my green wicks, though. Don't forget to reduce the visibility of your wicks as well. It does clean up the chart a surprising amount. And I think this could be a little bit of a darker green. Perfect. At least as perfect as I want it at this time. That's clean. Okay, time to look at the comments again. Yeah, how do you turn off this panel here? Eh? I actually haven't the slightest. Getting rid of this little bar down here would be really cool. Tell me how to do it. Can BNB USD go any higher? I don't know if I want to look at the USD pair, man. The Bitcoin pair is in a compressionary range. I'm not going to mess with it. Dad, did you see the Bitcoin dominance chart? You can see it if you enter the BTC.D. It's not really a chart I ever look at. How did my viewership go up while I was changing settings? That doesn't make any sense. I'm gonna be honest, my wicks are a bit too dark. Go to the trading tab in main settings. Let's save this as default. Dark. Buy sell panel. Okay, let's check it out. I see. Okay. It's beautiful. Okay, we got rid of all of it. Dude, that is so efficient. I'm so happy with this. I totally need to save my chart layout before I get rid of it forever. And I'm going to be honest, there's one last thing. I think my numbers are a bit too dark. Purple crosshair is cool, but I'm going to make it a flat line so it's a bit more visible, and then make it, I think like a nice orange. Perfect. And then it's perfect. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and save this chart layout. And I really don't need this. There we go. I think that's as efficient as I can make this chart. Let's tighten up these bottom indicators just a touch. They take up too much room, and I can read them as when they're smaller anyway. That's efficient. Give it a save. Oh, and I'm going to change this back to default indicator settings on the 250. And I'll save it on the daily just so it looks nice. It's as good as it gets, man. Okay, nobody's asked me about any new coins. And everyone is still watching me adjust indicators. Jesus, what is wrong with you guys? It's quite possibly the least informative 20 minutes I've ever streamed. Unless, of course, you're just adjusting your charts with me, which is actually kind of probable. The yellow crosshair is kind of making me happy. I'm good with it. Removal of the lines of the... Actually, they're not really removed. They're just kind of super vague now. Everything is still functional and visible. And I got rid of all the unnecessary panels I don't use. I just wish I could change the, oh, what's it called? The night theme color as well. Keep countdown to bar close, because that's actually useful. Can I do Ethereum? I can. Take a look at Ethereum. True Glory. And I can just make this thinner as well. Too much squish. Less squish, please. Actually, having this open right here, that would be super useful. I should use this more often to define longest over expanded period. It's much more efficient. Oh, and then I can just do it by bar as well? Jesus. Why didn't I not think of this? Right. Oh my god, that's so clean. Because now I can just automatically identify it's the 70 period by mousing over the candle itself. God damn. Snake, can you tell me the ticker for Pundix, please? No, I have no idea what's going to happen on this. Not in its current form, anyway. What have you done to me, guys? Need to make this chart as efficient as possible. You know, for the amount of implied compression, there is a lot of messy expansion happening with no implied direction. It's ugly. It's not an attractive chart. ETHUSD, however, I mean, it's in a trend because Bitcoin's in a trend. Right, longest over expanded period here is the 45. Yeah, that's still miles away. Trend is defined, but there's no entry, so it's not really worth doing. I've been back holding Ethereum since here, so I'm actually pretty happy about all this. I kind of forgot I was doing it. I have just a couple. But that drew down 60%, and I didn't even remember I had it. I just opened up my Kraken account and wondered why there was a couple $1,000 sitting in it. But pleasantly surprised. So, you know, if that goes back to previous highs. That's I can get on that. Although we did identify long right here, so all this potential energy. The wave PM crossed below the 0.4 value. That was huge. I probably should have loaded up on more, but I didn't. And well, we're up 90% since then, so quite the day, eh? Can I share the chart setting? I don't know if it's possible to export chart settings, man. But if you want to pause the video and just look at each of these settings menus and do that too. Oh, actually, one of the most important parts is, I'll show you. Yeah, under scales, or wow, why can't I? Appearance, yeah. Top margin and bottom margin. You want to set them to 0%. That's super important. Because usually the higher, it buffers a blank zone in your chart, and it makes it more zoomed than it needs, or it makes it more zoomed out than it needs to be. Whereas if you have it set to 0, it'll automatically set the lowest part of your chart to the bottom of the screen and the highest part of the chart to the top of your screen. Whereas if you adjust that to, say, 10, watch what happens. Like, look at how much more compressed this chart is. And I think the default is like 8%. It's ridiculous. You definitely need to set it to 0. It's the single most efficient thing you can do for your TradingView chart. And use the data window too, which I've never really gotten around to doing, and but goddamn is it useful. NXP, MPXS, okay. Why does it Why does it automatically default to the Korean won? No. Sorry, man. If it starts an uptrend, sure. But until then, I don't want to bet on it. And Kin. I've never heard of that before. Quite the wick today. Looks like somebody made a mistake. Traded at 0 for several minutes. What the hell? I guess somebody put a sell wall there, eh? That's bizarre. I don't know what to say about that, man. Okay. It is been 1 hour, 55 minutes just about. It's kind of fun to see it hit a 0 value because you never see white values on Wave PM. Wonder what Apple's doing. Just kind of curious. Downtrend's pretty sustained still. You know, it's hard to tell if this is reaccumulation or distribution. Hey, does anyone know any weed stocks? Oh, that's expected. I'm pretty sure weed stocks are a bit of a bubble. Like, sure, there's going to be a lot of value in them in the future, but they're overvalued at this current time. I bought this in a stock simulator in 2014. I kid you not. It was when I was first getting into trading. I bought, it was a stock simulator. I bought this, Disney, GoPro, and weed. Just weed. I bought it around, I think it was in April. I might still have screenshots. I'll have to take a look, for about $2. And well, that portfolio would have really performed well, eh? That's pretty disappointing, man. To be that right about something but not make any money on it. It happens. You know what? We can actually make money on this. Now that I look at this chart. Hold on. What the hell, man? This is sufficiently compressed for trend continuation. I just need to point that out. That wave PM cross is going to be really significant, I'll tell you. Okay, if this has any kind of breakout, it's going to trend pretty hard. And any kind of upside is going to be huge. That's 64%. My God. This could be really profitable, guys. You have true net compression. We just need to find out which way the expansion is going to be. Definitely keep an eye on this, guys, okay? I'm going to check out Aeon, and then I'll be done, okay? Never mind. I don't want to look at this. That is embarrassing. Okay? Okay, I'm done. You guys have a beautiful day. Make sure you like this video. Leave a comment on what you thought of today's analysis. And do subscribe. Like, really, subscribe, guys. I do this every day at 1 p.m. MST. And be sure to hit the notification bell so you actually know when I'm going live. Okay? It has been a pleasure. Dad Shark is out. I'll see you tomorrow.